So Mark Skews, what is your number five favorite of season 1?
Love stinks.
Excuse me, hello? Has everyone here stated their unconditional love for one another in no uncertain terms?
Yes, I have this on my favorites, and not far from where you have it. I have it. This is my number 3.
Number 3. Yep.
All right.
I thought this one was pretty good.
Yeah, we got one. Hey, this episode may not take 7 hours.
It's on the right half of the.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to do the plot?
Let me do the plot.
Yeah.
I got lots. Okay. So I think you'll agree with me. The B plot is the better.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. For one very specific reason, which I knew. I would, remember. So off camera before we started filming, I told Mark, I go, "There's 2 we're both going to talk about for sure. Maybe 3.
Yep.
This was one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew. Okay, so plot A, it opens with a commercial advertising that Beefy Boy Burgers is being, remember Beefy Boy Productions.
Right.
So Beefy Boy refers to an in-universe burger joint in Springwood, which we're going to get to that later, maybe.
Chew me.
We're going to be talking a little bit more about Beefy Boy Burgers might come up again. So Beefy Boy Burgers is shutting down, and it's being turned into a pizza shop called Cheesy Boy.
Yeah.
That's just an advertisement. Keep that in mind. This episode does a pretty good job of setups and payoffs. Mm-hmm. That was a good. So that sets up the B plot. That's not the A plot.
We're not talking about that one yet.
No,
like, that's just,
but that is the opening. Yep. That is the opening. Yeah. So it's in your mind, right? So it opens with our character Adam, and he's either like an early college or I think he's like a late high school kid, but he's like 18 or some shit. Most of the protagonists in this show were like late high school. But one of the neat things about the show, a lot of the protagonists are adults. That's interesting. You have a face like you don't like that.
It goes against the whole mythos of Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm not against it.
Like,
I'm not against it. I think it's different. I don't know. I'm okay with it.
Why break your own rules?
Well, this show doesn't give a fuck about any rules.
That is true.
Right.
I will give
this
you
show
that.
doesn't give a fuck about any established lore. Okay, so Adam is in bed and he's getting hot and heavy with his girlfriend Laura, and Laura says to him, "I love you, Adam." And Adam's like, "Yeah, that's great. Can we finish having sex now?" And she's like, "Well, if you can't say it back to me, then maybe we're not right for each other and you're not getting some tonight." So then she storms off all upset. And Adam, this is during a party. It's like a party at Adam's house. Right. I think it's Adam's house, but there's a party happening. And Adam goes downstairs to all the other party people, and everybody's like making out and shit, right? It's like a typical like high school party. Everybody's trying to get some. And then he meets the hot girl, who I've got 2 different names written down because I swear to God, I could not make out which one it was. So I've got Ronnie or Lonnie. I think it's Lonnie because to me that makes more sense. Laura, Lonnie, both L. Right. But it might be Ronnie. Yeah. It doesn't matter. He runs into a hot girl, and the hot girl is basically just like, "Hey, let's fuck." So then they go upstairs and fuck.
So they do.
He literally just cheats on his girlfriend. And I think she says some shit where she's like, "Oh, don't worry. Like, this is just a one-night thing, yada, yada." Okay? And then what proceeds is the hot girl is like a crazy psycho stalker, and she just like starts stalking and tormenting Adam, and it fucks up his relationship with his actual girlfriend, Laura. And there's like a bunch of scenes where it's like Laura will show up, and then but like Lonnie will be there, and Lonnie's like, "He's mine now, bitch," and like shit like that. And he's like, "I can't get," and Adam's like, "Oh no, I really want Laura. How do I get rid of this chick?" And it's a stupid. Yep. It's kind of whatever. The twist ending is so dumb. So so it turns out that it was how do I wrote this here? It was all I'm already because like even I'm like, how did this one end again? Okay, yeah, that's what it was. It's so fucking stupid. So it turns out he wakes up and everything we've seen up to that point was a dream, and it turns out that in the dream, the girl who was Lonnie, the hot girl, like the slutty girl, right, that was actually Laura, his girlfriend. So that's what she actually looks like. But then there's like a knock on his door, and then he answers the door, and his parents are there, and his parents are just like, "Oh, hey, son, our friends are in town, and they have a hot daughter we want you to meet." And then the daughter shows up, and her name is Laura, but it's actually the psycho girl.
Oh, she's dying to meet you.
I've already got a girlfriend.
Well, maybe not the right girl, Adam. Meet Lonnie.
Hi, Adam. I've heard so much about you.
They switch places, but it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't help the story.
No, the A plot is kind of whatever. I don't know. It only had one. It has two things I like. There's a really cool body horror shot.
Yes.
And it's very Elm Streety.
Yeah.
Very rarely. So the show is very low budget.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot to work with. Very rarely do you get anything even remotely close to the god tier production value in the actual Elm Street films. This is a cool effect.
They do, and this is the reason why the A plot is enough to on the A plot its own. The A story itself is not enough to propel this episode.
No, but
the effects in this one were pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just enough to get you to the B plot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a really cool body horror shot where it's like Adam wakes up in bed with his girlfriend, and because he's having like anxiety about basically being tied to this person. That's why he doesn't want to say, he doesn't want to commit to her, but he like wakes up and she's like, "What are you talking about? We are connected, sweetie." She like lifts up the cover and they're like, it's like something out of fucking a Cronenberg movie. Right. They have this like weird appendage that's just connected the two of them, and it's really gross looking.
Then they start cutting it apart.
Great.
Right.
Yeah. It was well done. That was a good effect. I love Adam's over the top Playboy dad because he's just so cartoony.
There's a lot of that in the show though.
Oh,
yeah.
Everyone hams it up.
Yep.
Everyone hams it up. Very rarely does anyone give you a grounded performance. Right. But his dad is just like, "Hey, son," like he's like Mr. Playboy. He's like the schlubby fucking like grease ball, and he's like, "This is how you get ladies, this is how I won your mother, I slipped to the salami." He doesn't actually say that, but like
that's what you would expect.
No, but that's literally the level that his dad is just like so over the top, and his hair is just like slicked back. He's got like he just looks like a fat schlubby impersonation of John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. Like it's so over the top. Anything else you want to say about the A plot?
There's Laura's head boiling in a pot. Again, just more decent effects. I felt like they put their money, the little money that they had, into actually making this look like a spectacle. They knew that the story was going to suck. They're like, screw the story. Let's just try and make this look cool. And I think that they've, for the most part, succeeded in that.
There's like some finger chopping too, I think at one point too.
So,
it's like kind of a bloody effect. Yeah.
It kept me awake.
But fuck all that. Let's get to the B plot, because the B plot fucking is awesome.
This is one of the rare instances where the B plot crushes the A plot.
Oh, without a doubt. Okay, so the B plot. So remember I said there was a commercial for Cheesy Boy?
Yep.
Cheesy Boy Pizza is now the central focus of this. Is the main setting for our B plot. We are not following Adam. We are following Adam's friend Max, which, did you catch? He was introduced. He's right at the beginning of the A plot. It's like Adam comes downstairs and he's like annoyed because his girlfriend wants him to say, "I love you." And then he confides in his friend Max. Right. He's just like, Max is like eating something out of the fridge.
Just like a throwaway character in the A story.
Right. But that's enough of a connection. Right. Again, there's very loose threads often where somebody in the A plot is just kind of like in a scene, and it's like now they're our main protagonist. Yeah. So Max is like the stereotypical like lazy stoner. He's Mr. Chillax, Mr. Cool Guy. He doesn't want to conform to society's like boring 9-to-5 lifestyle, and that causes friction between him and his mom. Max dreams of going on a big surfing trip. Surfing trip with him and his friends following graduation. That's everything to him. This is what he wants.
Yep.
He is dying to go on this trip because he's all about like live life to the fullest, man. Like
So obviously that doesn't happen at all.
No. So his mom is supposed to give him a graduation gift in the form of money to go on the trip, but surprise, his mom is convinced by her brother, aka Max's uncle Ralph, played by one Jeffrey Combs.
The one and only.
Or Combs. I don't know. Is it Combs?
Combs, I think so,
Combs. Jeffrey Combs of Reanimator fame.
Please don't add us if we're wrong about that.
Yeah.
By the way.
Who we both love. Jeffrey Combs is a frequent. He's always in horror films, always in Sci-Fi Project. He's like a career character actor. I love Jeffrey Combs.
Yep.
We both love Jeffrey Combs.
Reanimator, Deep Space Nine.
Reanimator, one of both of our favorite horror films of all time.
Yep.
I actually had so we should say there are actual guest appearances in the show.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them, but there are some. I didn't know this one.
Yeah.
When he showed up, I literally did a double take and I was like, no. But then
as soon as you see him, you're like, of course you would be in this.
Of course,
Right, yeah.
Jeffrey Combs would be in this. Yeah. One of the lesser. Now you know what? I'm not going to spoil it in case it comes up. But there's
I know where you're
there's
going.
another crazy cameo in this show that was like one of those before they were famous. But I won't spoil it yet in case one of us has it. So Jeffrey Combs plays Max's like dickhead uncle, and he's just like this obnoxious do-gooder shithead, and he basically like convinces Max's mom. He's like, it would be a lot better for Max if he earned that money. Don't just give it to him. You're spoiling him. It's like he needs to learn responsibility. He needs a good foundation of what it's like to be in the workforce. So he gets Max a summer job at Cheesy Boy Pizza.
Cheesy Boy Pizza.
Yes, which is a fun setup.
Yep.
I like this setup. And basically the episode is, it turns out that Uncle Ralph also works at Cheesy Boy Pizza as the manager. So Max now has to work for his shithead uncle, who just is needlessly like mean.
It's almost masochistic with long shifts, just treats him poorly.
Overworks him, like constantly berating him. Like it's basically like the perfect example of a terrible boss, but like it's also your relative. So it's just such an awkward, shitty situation.
You were wasting time. I was hoping you'd be a little bit more grown up than this.
Look, head cheese. You're my mom's baby brother, all right? Where do you get off making judgments about me?
Someone's got to keep you straight. You know, at least I didn't take off like your dad. I made something of myself.
Oh, yeah. I can see you've really made the big time.
Hey, a business is a business. And in a year, I'm going to own this place because I understand something about responsibility. Do you? Or do you follow in Daddy's footsteps?
And what follows is a war between Max and his Uncle Ralph as Max tries to get fired because he doesn't want to work there.
No.
So Max like tries little schemes and shit. He's like, I'm going to get fired. But then like his Uncle Ralph is like, he keeps setting it up. So it's like, he almost can't get fired in a sense because he keeps like almost playing defense between the owner and Max. So the owner never really, and the owner ends up really taking a shine to Max too. So Max is just like, fuck, I can't get fired. I'm stuck here.
He tries to turn the place into a nightclub at one point, and then it just does really well.
You're right, yeah.
So it's like, damn it.
Every attempt Max has to get out of there, Max has this scheme where he's like, I know it'll piss off the boss. He's like, I'll make a little like a hangout for teenagers because Uncle Ralph is like trying to be a shit, and he's like, all right, you're gonna work the midnight shift, and he's like, for fuck's sakes. But then it's like, all right, fine, I know it'll get them going. We'll set up a little hangout spot for teenagers at night, and I'll do a pizza bar, which is not something that they even offered, which is like you get to make your own pizza. But then it ends up turning into a big hit, and then it's like super successful. So then they like congratulate Max, and then his uncle gets like jealous of his success, and then his like uncle like because of his jealousy he like shuts it down. Yeah,
like the most successful part of this new business, and he wants nothing of it.
You know, we don't even need to get into the ending or anything. Well, I mean, it'll come up in a second, but like some pros. Jeffrey Combs is great.
Yep. I think he's a great example of this whole B story that the creators for this episode knew what they were doing, or this story. They're like, you know what? Let's just go wild and have some fun with this one. They didn't try to make it scary or anything like that. They're just like, hey, this is going to be a blast. We've got Jeffrey Combs. We've got a goofy idea. Surfer boy in a pizza place. We've got a crazy twist ending that is just ridiculous. Let's just have a lot of fun with it. And I was laughing and smiling the whole time.
Yeah, because it's like they're like, we got Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs will perfectly play an asshole,
That's right.
like uncle. Like he plays the fuckface uncle, like the douchebag uncle, so well.
Hey! Dance fever was last night. The party's over. Out!
Look, never mind him, okay? I'll come over and explain.
No, you won't. No, you won't. You're staying right here. No, you're going downstairs to count flour sacks. That's better. Right now.
And they pair him with like the laid back, chill, just like
They played well off each other.
They
as well.
had good chemistry in their scenes. And Max is a likable protagonist.
He's not bad, eh?
I like Max. I wanted to root for Max.
This is 22 minutes that you won't waste of your life if you watch this story. Yeah.
Max is basically, he's just like a typical like 90s teenager. And I think that's why I liked him. I'm a 90s kid, and I remember what it was like to be that, to be a high school kid, that you just wanted to have fun.
Right.
And there's always the adults like, get a job,
I don't care if I get fired. Like,
I love that attitude of like no stakes,
right.
just, so I think he's a likable character. You want to root for Max, and I like his little schemes he comes up with to try to get fired. I think that's clever too. Some credit to this episode.
Yeah.
We have world building.
Yes.
Yes, because so Cheesy Boy Pizza was so one of the cool things about the show, for budgetary reasons, they reuse a lot of the same sets.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this. There's like one house that's in like 5 episodes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The big staircase.
Well, there's like the pilot house. Yeah. The house that they use in the pilot, they use that in like 5 or 6 of the fucking episodes. They keep reusing that interior. So a lot of the sets get reused, including the restaurant set, which was previously a burger joint, and then now it is a pizza shop. That is to the detriment of the show. They're kind of forced because of budgetary reasons to keep reusing the same sets. So that's kind of a negative. But to the positive of the show, because of that, they're kind of forced. Like for the house, that one doesn't really work because they don't acknowledge it whatsoever. No, they're not like, oh, the previous person, they went crazy because Freddy made them run off a cliff or some shit. It's like they don't do it that way. But the town itself is kind of a character in the show.
Right.
I love those little moments. They're so few and far between, but the episodes will reference other episodes sometimes. They'll reference events, implying that like this is they're not as self-contained as you think. Mm-hmm. And often some episodes have sequel episodes.
You don't need to have watched them all in order, but if you do,
you get rewarded.
You'll be rewarded by having those little links between them.
And one of the links is they reference, I think it's the 2nd episode of the series. They reference an episode called It's a Miserable Life. And this is the episode with the kid in the Beefy Boy Burgers. And they reference without spoiling it, they reference the events of that episode. And they also reference the episode Rebel Without a Car. Because that kid also worked at Beefy Boy Burgers briefly. Yep. So what happens is like they just mentioned it one-off. It's like a one-off line of like, the owner decided to sell after this happened to his son, and then this happened to one of his other employees. I don't know, a neat little world building.
Hey, did you hear about this place when it was Beefy Boy?
I don't know. They tell me a lot of stories. Bad things that happen here. One boy gets killed by a car. Another one gets shot. But I tell you the truth, I think I'm going to have a good luck here.
Well, the odds are in your favor.
It doesn't matter if you don't know what they're referencing, but if you do and you paid attention, right? It's a little bit of a...
I don't know. I like it. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
A little treat there for you.
There's not a lot in Freddy's Nightmares, so when they give you something, you gotta,
what you can
gotta latch onto it. Yeah. My favorite thing, we got a happy ending. This never happens. No, literally, it never happens.
Okay, we do.
No, Max wins.
He does. He does.
Uncle Ralph gets it, and Max totally wins. And
Right.
that's what I like. That's my favorite thing is the fact that 99% of these episodes ends with a twist of some kind, some ironic twist of like, oh no, the person I killed was actually my brother or some shit. They're all like that, with the exception of a couple.
Yeah.
This is one of them. The protagonist actually wins, which I like. Do you want to get into how dumb the twist?
Well,
like what the twist is?
There's the secret ingredient.
Right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So and I'm trying to remember. It was Jeffrey Combs' character that it was always his secret ingredient.
So Jeffrey Combs is he starts having a rivalry with Max because Max's little nightclub in the pizza shop took off. The owner's happy. Jeffrey Combs shuts it down, and then Jeffrey Combs, he introduces a secret ingredient into the sauce, and then it makes pizza sales blow up, and Max is like, what's in that? And he's like, it's my secret ingredient. I can't say. And then Max is like, well, whatever, who cares? Like, he's not really, that's the funny, he's like, he doesn't even look into it. And he just happens to stumble into one of the locked up rooms, and inside he finds a bunch of dead bodies.
hanging, yep.
And so it turns out the secret ingredient, they pull a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Jeffrey Combs is cutting up customers and then blending them into, I guess, sauce or maybe even like pepperoni or some shit, and then serving it to people.
But that was a dream, right?
Right.
And
that would again, the show is so loose with the dreams. So that actually didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
But what did happen was they set it up at the beginning of the B plot that the owner says to Max, he's like, oh, this old pizza oven, it doesn't
work
It doesn't work like it used to. You have to watch it. If the heat gets too high, she may blow up, which makes absolutely no sense. But for whatever reason, I guess this oven doesn't have a limiter, and it doesn't have like a self turn off switch. So it's like if you see the temperature get too high, you got to shut it off. So Max falls asleep in the stock room, and then it goes too high, and then it goes supernova, and then they don't show it, but you see Jeffrey Combs like, oh, and then it just like, I guess it blew up, and then cut to Max, and he's like, now he's looking very different. He's got like a tie on, he's looking slick, and his girlfriend's like, I can't believe you made a deal with the owner. And he's like, yep, things are looking good.
All mine now.
Yeah, things are looking up for me. Made a deal with the owner. Once it's rebuilt, we're going to be 50-50 partners. So it turns out that Max's laziness blew up the pizza joint, killed his uncle, and now the owner who took a shine to Max has made a deal with him, and they are going to be 50-50 partners in the rebuilt Cheesy Boy Pizza. And Max now has a new calling.
And I believe he references that he's going to make pizzas with a special ingredient as well.
You think they set that up? You think they were saying that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
That he's going to take the idea from his dream.
I just kill people.
And put it into the pizza. I think I caught that. Maybe I didn't. But, it
might have been a tongue-in-cheek joke. Yeah. It doesn't feel like Max would do that. Nope. So the Max I know wouldn't cut people up and feed them to people. Yeah.
Oh, this was a great one.
This is a fun.
I'm
surprised you don't have it higher because you have what was yours?
That was my number 5. Number 5.
I'm surprised you don't have it higher. This is my number 3.
Yeah. Jeffrey Combs gets killed by a pizza cutter to the face. In one of the dream sequences.
At one point. Yeah. At one point.
Like just dumb, awesomely dumb.
Yeah, they're just having fun with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and he also gets like Max in the one dream. He like punches him out and puts him in the oven.
Yes.
He just like punches his uncle, and then like Jeffrey Combs is just like knocked out, and he just like puts him into the oven, like turns up the dial.
Right.
Yeah. When he's like, it's one of his fantasies. Yeah.
No.
Dumb fun.
Loved every bit of it.
Dumb fun.